I bid you adieu and welcome. Hi, this is Eugene from the Brotherhood of Gaming, once again joining you for another comic book review as we check on the latest exploits of Harley Quinn and the soap opera that is the romance between Superman and Wonder Woman. Hope you guys are doing okay out there. I am. I just read two very good comic books. This is Harley Quinn, number 3, and Superman Wonder Woman, number 5. And these are my thoughts and opinions on these two new issues that came out this month for two of my, right now, my two most favorite running comic book titles for different reasons. Well, you know what, non-spoiler, let's just get that out the way. They're both good, okay? Now let's dive into spoilers. First, I want to talk about the New 52 Harley Quinn number 3. I freaking love this. I love this this whole comic series. I just hope this is very successful because it deserves it. It's great. Well, first off, let's just jump right into it. Harley Quinn number 3 is a Valentine's Day issue, as you notice, with the nice little lollipop chainsaw going through the heart, and how she's kind of, yeah. Anyway. This, alright, this issue starts off, it's very, the way it starts off is very strange. It's like, you have like these scroll of panels, and first there's black, and then you see something. And then it's black again, then you see Harley's reaction to it. So first, it's a zombie, and she's like, ugh, zombies have been done to death. Then she sees some other things, like, well, what are the things that she sees? Like a mummy with holding up a beheaded head, or alien mutant things, or giant spiders. And as it goes on and on and on, she starts to get more interested in it, and it's like, oh, okay, this is cool. This kind of reminds me of, this reminds me that I'm hungry. I better get something to eat after this. Well, this whole thing's going, it goes on for 2 pages. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? She's like watching TV or something? But then all of a sudden, an assassin, or a would-be assassin, appears with a shotgun and tries to take her out. Of course, she ducks it, takes the gun away, and beats him to death with it. Then she goes out, and it turns out she's been at an amusement park. She was going on one of those rides, those, what was it called? It's not the House of Horror. Yeah. Oh, the Scare-O-Rama. Yeah, it's one it's when you're at a carnival and you're on a small little car and you're on a track and you go through like this haunted house. That's what she was going through. And of course, she's covered in her shirt sleeves are covered in blood, and you see the people around her, the other people in the rider have these shocked looks on her faces, and the guy who's operating it, he has this stunned look. She goes up to him, and he's like, you need to clean up there. There's something to clean up, and I can get a big bucket. And she's like, oh God, I hope that's. He looks at her, he's like, oh God, I hope that's ketchup. So interesting way to start the issue. She's basically, well, first off, the name of the issue is Love Stinks, and the whole thing is that Harley is missing the Joker, and she's kind of walking around on Valentine's Day, and it's kind of depressing for her. I can relate. Valentine's Day is my birthday, but also Valentine's Day has one of those things that kind of remind you, especially if you're single, that, it kind of reminds you how lonely you can be at times. She's walking around and she's seeing all these people, couples hanging out, and she sees this one couple who's practically, like peeling off each other's clothes, getting ready to, looks like they're really getting ready to publicly get into it. She walks by and she's like, oh, get a room, and then they kind of, flip her off and tell her to, mind her own business. And you can tell she was in a pretty sour mood because, if it was any other day, Harley would probably turn around and kill them, but she just kind of walks away. She's just in a sour mood. Well, she goes back to the hotel and she meets up with Big Tony, who's the little, the short guy. He's a short person. And he is also kind of upset because there was this girl, I guess the girl he was interested in and she's now dating someone else. And he's kind of kicking himself, like, oh man, I was playing too hard to get, and now it's kind of hit me, gonna backfire on me. And he had his flowers, and Harley's like, oh, those are some nice flowers. Can I have them? And he's like, okay, sure, go ahead. And then she says, I'll be your Valentine's today. And he's like, I appreciate that, but the only thing worse than being alone on this day is being pitied. Kind of got that too. I kind of understood that too. So he walks away. So she goes upstairs and she's taking a bath, and she's flipping through the TV. She's lying in her tub. It's taking a soap bath, and of course the TV's out the corner, and she's got the remote. She's flipping through it, and on TV you see Superman and Wonder Woman kissing. So you know what she was doing when that news broke, and she looks at that and she's like, oh, she looks at Superman and Wonder Woman, making out, and she's like, oh, seriously, really? I'm so sick and tired of this romance stuff. So after she gets done with her bath, she has a conversation with her dead, burned, stuffed beaver thing. And she notices that the plants that Poison Ivy gave her, well, they started to sprout berries. So she decides to eat a berry, thinking, what could go wrong? She eats this berry, and she says, oh, it tastes pretty good. And then she gets a phone call. Well, it turns out that in issue 1, she did a job interview for like a therapist gig at a nursing home, and she found out that she got the job. And she said to her beaver friend, you know what this means? And the beaver says that a lot of old people are in trouble. Good one. She says, no, this means I can now, keep this place. I can pay rent, So she decides to celebrate. She decides to get dressed up and go out to a bar and maybe get someone to buy her a few drinks. And so she puts on their outfit and she looks in the mirror. Before she goes, she looks at herself in the mirror and then she says, God, I just don't know why Superman wears the same thing every single day. Because in all her issues, she's always wearing a different outfit. I thought that was clever. So she's walking down the street. And then a bus that's carrying a bunch of convicts are coming down the street. And the bus driver suddenly gets a whiff, smells something. Basically, when Harley ate that berry that was on the plant for Poison Ivy, she started to emit like this pheromone. And the bus driver got a whiff of it and suddenly just crashes takes the bus and crashes into a convenience store. And then after that, all the convicts, get released, and they're all psychopaths. I mean, really crazy guys. And they're like, oh, they're free. And suddenly Harley walks up to them. He's like, oh, you guys okay? That looked like it was pretty crazy. Well, they smell the pheromone that Harley is emitting, and they immediately fall in love with her. But you remember, these are psychos, so what they want to do is, when they fall in love with someone, is of course they want to, do some not nice things to her. One of them said, "Oh, you look so beautiful in the trunk of my car," and they're all become like zombies. They start chasing her, just chanting "yum yum yum." She looks so yummy, so delicious. I just want to carve your face off and do all these things. So Harley's like freaking out. So she's running down the street with all these convicts, these psychopaths who are just in love with her and enthralled with her, chasing her. She makes her way to. I guess it's a store, kind of like a Walmart or something like that. She breaks in. The guy who was in charge, or like the janitor right there, he smells her and he asks her to marry her, and she says, "Look, I'll marry you if you keep these guys from chasing me." So he gets some tools and tries to fight them off. He gets killed. They run in after her. Well, I guess she left her mallet at home, so she doesn't have any weapons, so she's looking for something to fight with. They finally catch up to her, but she thankfully had made her way to the power tools in the guarding section. So you see her, she's armed herself with a whole bunch of different tools. First thing she has is a big weed whacker. She's fighting them off with a weed whacker. She's using axes and just all these different tools to take them out. I forgot how she was like a propane gas thing, and she lit it on fire. It turned into like an explosive, and it was able to fry most of them. Finally, there's this one guy. There was just one more guy left, and she has him. And she was like, he says, oh God, I was trying to think of what he says. He says, she says to him, I have one question for you. Why are you so attracted to me? And he says, well, you just smell so good, and I'm kind of a pervert anyway, and you have some really nice appendages. And she's like, I'm going to enjoy killing you. So he kills him. She kills him with a wrench. And she's walking out the store, and in front is a police car, and it's a female cop there, and she's telling Harley to put the wrench down. She's walking up to arrest her. She smells the pheromone that's coming off of Harley, and then the cop immediately kisses Harley. And Harley's like, what the hell are you doing? And she's like, I'm sorry, I was about to rescue but then you just smell so good, and all of a sudden I felt like kissing you. I'm not really into girls, I don't think. Oh, you smell just delicious. You're like I just want to eat you up like a strawberry donut. And Harley is like, oh, it's the pheromones. It's the berries. It's the berries. It has to be the berries. So she runs home while the cop is like, wait, come back. And Harley runs past a couple who's walking down the street. They're both eyeballing her. So Harley's like, oh, I got to get home right now. So she goes back home to her apartment. She throws the berries out. She like slingshots them out, and they like land into the zoo that's across the street, into the water. Big Tony comes back, and Harley's freaking out at first, but then she finds out that the pheromones have finally worn off. Big Tony comes back and asks Harley if she can have the flowers back that he gave her at the beginning of the issue. And he says, sure, go ahead. Tony says, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fight for my girl. I'm going to show that I'm the man for her. And Harley's like, well, I'll tell you what, before you go, here, why don't you try this berry off from the... She gives him one of the berries from the plant. And he's like, what is this, some sort of breath mint or something? And I say, yeah, something like that. And he goes on his way. And then she ends the issue by saying that, the thing about, in her eyes, Valentine's Day is the meanest holiday, because if you're single, it reminds you how alone you are. But if you're with someone, it forces you to make a performance. And but sometimes it's nice to play Cupid. And first, she says that she has all the unconditional love that she needs because she has all her animal friends, all her pets who are living with her. She has all the unconditional love she needs. She's walking, and then the final scene, she's walking her dog out of the apartment, and she sees Big Tony, who's being hugged by the girl that he was after, and the guy that she was dating, and he's like, make it stop, make it stop. They both fall in love with him because of the pheromones from the berries. And that ends the issue. Love stinks, especially when Harley Quinn is involved. This was just a really, really fun issue. This series is just so off the wall. It is just thoroughly enjoyable. It really is enjoyable. It's a fun read. Yeah, I can't praise this enough. It's the New 52 Harley Quinn comic book series. If you haven't checked it out, give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. Issue 3. Issue 3, Harley Quinn, Love Stinks, gets a thumbs up. Big thumbs up. Well, that's it for Harley Quinn. Now let's move on to Superman Wonder Woman number 5. And on the front is Fiora. Apparently her name means death. And apparently Fiora now looks exactly as she did in Man of Steel. Interesting. Well, last we left our happy super couple. Of course, in the last issue, the big secret was revealed. So they've kind of gone their separate ways. Diana has kind of retreated. She's kind of gone back to Paradise Island. And in the New 52 universe, Diana, of course, is the daughter of Hippolyta, the Queen of the Amazons, and also Zeus, the god. Well, in this time, the Amazons basically have been turned into snakes, and the Queen of the Amazons, Hippolyta, has been turned to stone. So basically, the island of Themyscira is basically abandoned. I mean, the Amazons are there, but they're snakes now. I think that's what's going on. I hope I believe that's what's happening. Again, I don't know how this happened. I'm sure this happened in the explained in the Wonder Woman comic book. But anyway, she goes to Queen Hippolyta to talk to her, and she admits that she's found a companion, but even though she does care for him, he has this other life, this second life, where he, denies the gifts that he has, and it's his own separate life. And she's upset because it's a world, that second life, the life of Clark Kent, the reporter, the regular, this guy's. That's a world that she cannot follow, and she's not 100% sure that she can follow him there. So you can sense there is some resentment. She's starting to build a little resentment toward that. And meanwhile, she walks through the island, and she finds out that on Themyscira there's the gates to Tartarus. And the gates have been opened, and a monster has escaped. Meanwhile, back in the Fortress of Solitude, Superman, of course, Zod has released Feora. Superman is being attacked by one of the monsters that have gotten out of the cages that was in the fortress, and Zod uses it to take off. Superman belts him out the way, and he flies after them. He calls Batman, who's, of course, in Gotham City beating up a thug, doing his thing. He tells Batman that 2 superpowered beings have escaped from the Phantom Zone. I want everyone to stay out of this. I will take care of this. And Clark's like, yeah, okay, so you just don't... Why do you want to do this by yourself? Do you want to make sure that no one else gets hurt, or you just want to clean up your own mess? Don't be stupid, call Diana. Then Clark explains that he and Diana had kind of a bit of an argument, and he has been able to contact her, and Batman's like, oh shit. You can literally see, he doesn't actually say that, but the way Batman looks, he's like, oh shit. Great, you guys have had a spat, and now the world is going to come to an end. He starts kind of lecturing him, and Superman's like, look, Bruce, I don't need a lecture right now. Just try to get contact with Wonder Woman as soon as you can. I'm going to go after these guys. And Batman's like, all right, I'll get Cyborg to try to contact her. Meanwhile, back on Themyscira, Diana has this short little fight with a monster, quickly kills it, throws it back into the hole, the gates of Tartarus, and uses the lasso to tie the gates up. Meanwhile, Zod is with Feora. Feora's kind of going crazy right now until finally she gets a hold of her senses. And they're in the Pacific Northwest, so I'm thinking like in Washington. So Superman is able to catch up to Zod and Feora, and he immediately, Feora sees him, he's like, who is this? And of course, they're speaking in Kryptonian, by the way. He says, oh, this is Kal-El of the House of El. He's like, oh, is he going to be a problem? And Zod's like, no. Yeah, he's strong, but he's not trained. And they immediately start kicking the hell out of Superman. Diana finally leaves the island, and then after she does, she's able to she gets contacted by Cyborg. She tells her what's going on. She flies out to the Pacific Northwest. Meanwhile, Feora is now starting to learn her powers because she's finding out, oh man, I got all these powers too, and she basically they're just double teaming and just kicking the crap out of Superman. They send him hard to the ground, and Zod's like, he won't be able to take much more of this. Like I said, he is strong, but he's not trained. Then he hears a voice from behind him that says, that may be true, but you're a fool to face off against him. He is mine. And it's Diana. And she was speaking in Kryptonian. And Zod's impressed, like, oh, you learned our language for him. Oh, that's very sweet. Show me what a woman of Earth can do. And Superman gets in there, and what was interesting about this fight, about the New 52 universe, and I think it's kind of cool, is that Superman is very strong, very powerful, but he's not a warrior. He's not a trained warrior. Like, he's facing off against Zod and Feora and Diana, who are who have actually had training in military training and fighting. You know, Superman, Clark's never had that. You know, he's basically had to learn it all on his own. So you have these 3 trained warriors, and then you have Superman just kind of really, this is the first time really that Superman's kind of at a disadvantage, because he's in this fight, and it almost it almost feels like he's kind of almost in the way. He's like trying to tell Diana what to do. Like, Diana, use your lasso, and she's like, and she says to him, "If I had it, I would use it. Mind your own fight," which is great. Like they're having this spat. Zod, you know, Diana is actually really laying into Faora. Then Superman is trying to fight Zod, and then Zod dislocates his arm from his shoulder. Really hurts him, and he has Clark by the neck. And Diana's like, if you kill him, you'll be next to die. And he says, well, that may be true, but I will let him go if you let her go, and then no one will die today. Diana lets Faora go, Zod lets Superman go, and Zod and Faora fly off. And Clark is just kind of, looks like a real sad sack. He's got blood all over his face, his arm is dangling, and he's like, no, we can't let him get away. But Diana's holding him back, holding on to him. He said, don't worry, no one's going to die today. And that ends the issue. Good issue. Superman, Wonder Woman #5. So like I said, the Superman, Wonder Woman comic and the Harley Quinn comic are both series I really enjoy, but for different reasons. I enjoy the soap opera aspect of Superman, Wonder Woman, and I just love the zany slice of life comedy in Harley Quinn. I mean, to me they're both very, very good issues for very different reasons, and I'm very glad I'm following them both, and I'm enjoying the heck out of them. So that's it for this edition of Comic Book Reviews from the Brotherhood of Gaming. Thank you for watching. Make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. Again, thank you for all your support. Again, we're working on a lot of new content here at TBOG. So, I guess that's all I have to say for now. Again, thank you very much, and until next time, keep on gaming and keep on reading comic books. Peace.